Hello, I'm Adam Gopnik, and I'm inviting you to, hoping you'll join me in, a kind of seminar I'm planning to give that's going to be called Five Things I've Learned About Five Things I've Learned. Because I've been spending much of my time in the last few years, in fact, condensed into one of my most recent books, The Real Work, the subject of how it is we learn, why it is we want to learn, and what it is we learn when we're learning. And I'd love to share some of those insights with you. Uh, I'm not a scientist. In fact, I rather mischievously began my book, The Real Work, with the sentence, this is a self help book that won't help. Now, it won't help in giving you a recipe that you can readily or mechanically apply in order to learn things, but I think it will help enormously in giving you some insight into what it is to be a self, what it is that we go about when we do struggle to learn, because learning really isn't, in the end, a scientific subject. It's a humanist subject. It's a subject that I think an essayist like myself can give you some special insight into, exactly because to learn something is to engage in all of the vectors that press in on our humanity. It involves a teacher, it involves an audience, it involves family. And in all of those ways, I hope I can give you a much broader and humane vision of the process of learning. I'm going to talk particularly about four or five aspects of it. I want to talk some about the continuities that we find in all of the things we set out to learn. I made myself my own guinea pig and set about learning how to drive, which I didn't know even in my 50s, how to dance, how to box, a huge range of activities, how to play the guitar better than I did before. And I discovered that there are real, authentic continuities in practice amongst all those things, which you might almost sum up with the simple alliterative phrase, passionate perseverance. But I want to talk as well about the power of teachers, of coaches, even of gurus, and what they contribute to us. And I hope to bring in a couple of my own astoundingly gifted teachers to talk to me and with you as well. My friend Malcolm Gladwell said once that the real truth about my love of learning is that I fall in love with teachers. And I think that's true. But I think the business of falling in love with a great teacher is part of the way we learn and part of our broader humanity. Then I also want to talk some about the simple psychology of learning, the cognitive psychology of it, if you like, the way that we fill our heads and the way that we empty our heads out together. There's a huge and fascinating literature about that, which I'm privileged to know something about. I come from a scientific family, even if I'm not a scientist myself, and I'd love to share those specifics with you as well. And then, above all, what I want to talk to you about is the intersection of art and skill, the way that even as we master the specific, often highly physical tasks that we need to do something as daunting for an intellectual like myself as boxing or dancing with my daughter, which is how I spent the pandemic, even though those things seem at one way to be physical tasks that we need to master through the practice of passionate perseverance, in the end, they turn out to be highly cognitive and human ones that inevitably involve our attention to the what I call the imaginary other, the person you might be boxing even as you learn to box, the orchestra that might be playing even as you learn to dance. We make our own minds in the presence of other minds, and that's a crucial part of what it is to learn. Finally, I want to talk about the power of imperfection, how though we struggle all our lives to achieve something like perfection in the tasks we have and in the learning we do, the most powerful thing we can do most often is to master artful imperfection, ways of giving what I call the eternal vibrato to everything we do so that it emerges not just as virtuosity, but as a distinct and individual voice. I want to share all of those insights and inspirations with you if I can. I want to bring in people who know more than I do about each of those things. And above all, I want to make you feel how the real work is available to each of us. And that in the simplest things we set out to master, whether it's batik in a senior citizens class or dancing, on the Esplanade in Central Park with my daughter. In all of those ways, our humanity can be immeasurably enriched.